Welcome to Travel Talk, where our expert magical memory planners discuss ways you can have fun, memorable, and stress-free family vacations. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. I am super excited about today's topic, which is toddler cruising tips. And I have been working with a couple families that have some upcoming cruises that they have their babies and toddlers traveling on. And this has just been such a walk down memory lane for me. I've taken my kids on cruises since they were babies. It was something that was easy and fun for us to do for a family, and it worked out really well. And we learned a lot in the process of cruising with our little ones. And so I thought that to share the information with them and with everyone who's cruising with toddlers, that I would talk a little bit about cruising with toddlers, some tips, some things we learned, what to pack, what to do, and just how to have an amazing time. So here we go. So first of all, why cruise with toddlers? When you're planning a vacation, we went cruising when we just had one toddler. She was 18 months or 15 months on her first cruise. And we were going with my parents and other people. And so I was like, hey, let's do this with our little one. Sometimes you're planning a trip with a lot of other people involved, or maybe you even have older kids and you have a toddler in tow as well. And so you're thinking, is this going to work for us or not? So cruising is great for traveling with toddlers, and cruising actually is one of my favorite recommendations for multi-generational families too, because there's always something for everyone on the ship, and people can go in different directions, whether it's the teenagers or the young adults or older folks who are looking to go sit and relax by the pool, or someone's looking to go to the gym every day. I mean, whatever you want to do, there's something for you to do on a cruise, and you're never really that far away, and it's easy for everybody to come back together. But what particularly makes it easy for, cruising with toddlers? So the first thing is everything is really close. You can be up at the pool, and if your child's having a meltdown, which toddlers do, they do it at home and they do it on vacation. So you're like, hey, we need to regroup. We need to get back to the room. It's nap time. I mean, you can be back in your room in a couple of minutes. If you're in your room and you're finding we need a snack, or we need some milk, or we need some crackers, or we need some fruit, or we need whatever we need, there's almost always a buffet running, and you can run up there, bring food back, and you'll be back in a few minutes. So everything is close, easily accessible, easy to get around to. And that really makes it helpful when traveling with toddlers, because you don't have all that extra transportation to deal with, or car seats, or all those other things. So the other great thing is food is included. All the food is included. So one of the things when you're traveling with toddlers and sometimes babies, which is hard, is they need to eat, they need a meal, but you either have to share what you got, or you have to buy them a kid's meal, but they might not eat the whole thing, and save it for later or not. They eat at odd times, sometimes in between when you want to eat. And so, you have to buy that extra meal. But with a cruise, all the food is included. So if you need to run up to the buffet, if you want to get them a meal at a sit down meal time, if they don't finish, it's not really a big deal. It's not like you're paying for each individual meal. You don't have to worry about if it's too big of a portion, or if they got it and it was different from what they were expecting and maybe they didn't like it, so you want to try something else. All of that is easy on a cruise because all the food is included. You get them the chicken fingers. They decide this is not the chicken fingers I had at home and I don't want them. That's fine. Order them something different. They're really liking something that you got, and you've been giving them pieces of your filet mignon off your plate. And now you're like, great, I'm out of my really nice food. Not a problem. Just order something else. So the food being included is a huge plus when it comes to traveling with toddlers. And we have some recommendations for cruise lines. I mean, any cruise is great with toddlers, but some really cater to children well. And our favorite recommendation for that is either Royal Caribbean Cruise Line or Disney Cruise Line. Those two cruise lines have lots of dedicated spaces for kids. You'll be traveling with other families, so you're not going to be disturbing anybody in the dining room. There's going to be lots of other families on board, lots of other kids on board. So that is a great cruise line to choose. And when you're taking those kids on those cruise, you are building those core memories. Whether they remember the cruise or not, you'll remember the cruise, you'll remember their face, you'll remember the experience, and they will have so much fun. And it just starts them on that journey of experiencing new things and growing and expanding from what they're used to. And I just think traveling with toddlers in general although I understand it is challenging. I had 3 children within 4 years, so I had a mess of little kids running around, but it is challenging. But I always said, going to the grocery store is challenging. Going anywhere is challenging. So I might as well be on vacation. But it really helps create those core memories for the kids and really helps them start to become adaptable and learn new things. And I just think traveling with kids is great. So anyway, so that is why cruising with toddlers is a great idea. So let's talk a little bit about some packing tips. So this is a little bit of the preparation before you go on the trip, some things to pack, some things to think about. So first of all, pack Ziploc bags. This is actually a general travel tip of all travel. Always pack Ziploc bags in various sizes. You never know what you're going to need to put in there. It could be a bottle of shampoo that's leaking. It could be some leftover snacks. Particularly with the kids, there are refrigerators in most of the rooms. And so they're oddly shaped and usually they don't give you to-go boxes on the ships. And so usually you get a plate or a plate with a cover, and that might not fit in the fridge real well. So having Ziploc bags with you allows you to, if you're at a meal and you're like, let's grab this fruit and have it for later. Let's order a cheese and crackers plate as part of dessert, but maybe bring it back to the room. Let's get some of this chicken that they really liked, but they're not going to eat it all. And in half an hour, they're going to want it again. So you want to bring that back to the room. So just Ziploc bags are great to put some snacks in, put them in the fridge in your room, and then that way you have better space and an easier way to manage what you're doing and having for the kids. Bring a new toy. And this is also kind of a general travel tip, but when you're traveling with toddlers, they can get bored or they could be looking for something new. And so having a toy that you know that they would really like, or a few of them, and not presenting them until maybe you need to is a great little trick to have up your sleeve. It might work out that you don't need it on the trip and then you can save it and give it to them for Christmas or for their birthday. But you might also find that halfway through the trip, on the flight home, during some aspect of the trip or something, that they're looking for something different and you've kind of run through some of the other activities. So it's always good to have a new toy in your back pocket that you can pull out and introduce and create some new excitement. Kind of along with that, we did what I called the dinner bag. So for my toddlers, I had a little tiny bag. It was like a little boat bag, but it doesn't matter. But a little bag that we only brought to dinner. And when it was time for dinner, I was like, let's get our dinner bag. And we carried our dinner bag off to dinner. And in the dinner bag were items that my kids really liked, but that they could only use when we were at dinner. And that helped to keep that fresh so we didn't use it up while we were in the room or down by the pool or at any other time of day. Because we like to go to the main dining room for dinner. You don't have to. There's always a buffet option, a quick option. There's other choices. But we like to go to dinner in the main dining room. And so in order to just help with that, we had this dinner bag. And so I like to put activities and things in there. My kids did like to color a lot. So we used color wonder markers so that they wouldn't mess up the tablecloths or their clothes. We had some like reusable writing tablets where I could draw something, they could draw something, and then you could like make it disappear and they could write on it again. So we could play games, we could, do all kinds. They could just draw. We would draw for them and they would describe what we wanted them to draw and we would draw what they wanted us to draw and all different games that we would play. So that was really helpful to have the reusable writing tablet. So it was like always fresh and ready to go. But really anything that you think would be a good activity for them to do at dinner that doesn't make too much of a mess or isn't too loud or whatever, that you have in this little bag that they could bring with them to dinner. And it kind of makes a little excitement. The dining room is usually very good with bringing the kids' main food out fast so that they're not hangry, which is really helpful. You can also talk to your servers about if there's something in particular you want on the table every night, like when they got a little bit older, I would tell them, could we have some like veggies and ranch dressing on the table and some fruit, any kind, whatever you got back there, but some fruit on the table because they would sit down at the table and want to start eating bread. And I wanted to make sure they had something to eat that wasn't bread by the time we ordered our food. So I always asked for that and they're happy to do that for us. So, different things you can ask them, but having that dinner bag just made it fun to go to dinner and look at what activities were in the bag. I mean, you could even switch out the activities without the child knowing. And so when they got to dinner, it's a surprise what's in the dinner bag. That could be something that could be helpful too to switch it up for them. plenty of baby supplies and swim diapers. So if they're not toilet trained as toddlers, they can't go in the main pools, but a lot of ships now have splash areas that they can splash in with a swim diaper and plenty of baby supplies. Most ships do sell some basic baby supplies on board, like diapers and wipes and such, but your child might be used to a certain brand, might be sensitive to certain things. So you don't want to change anything up too much while you're on vacation. So plenty of baby supplies. And the nice thing is, as you use up those baby supplies, that will make room for souvenirs on your way home. Along those lines, we also recommend packing diaper disposal bags. I don't know if everybody's using those these days or not, but on the ship, especially in your stateroom, which they will take out the trash once or twice a day, you do want to put your diapers in a disposal bag that's going to help keep the scent away, and you can push that into the bathroom in your stateroom. But if you put the dirty diapers in a bag that, one of those ones that help with the smells, that will be very helpful for you. You'll like that. And along those lines, a little air freshener for the bathroom can be helpful too. I also recommend bringing snacks. Now, we said that the cruise line has tons and tons of snacks and there's lots of food. Yes, that's all true. But we know toddlers can be picky. And so it could be helpful to have some prepackaged snacks that you know that they like, something that is packaged up that you can bring off the ship in an excursion if you're going on an activity. Generally, you're not supposed to bring food off the ship, anything that's fresh, like muffins or fruit or anything like that, because you're going into a foreign country when you're coming from the ship and going into port. So if you have a packaged snack that you brought from home, something that's sealed, that is fine. So you might want to have, like I said, a couple of those up your sleeve just in case. You're also going to need some like cups and bottles. They really don't have cups specifically for kids. Usually they have a smaller paper cup with a plastic lid and a straw for the kids, like at dining times and stuff like that. That may or may not work for your child. So if they need a actual like sippy cup or something that is like a hard cup that doesn't have a lid that pops off, you'll want to bring cups and bottles. And don't forget to bring some soap, some dish soap, and a small sponge. If you bring a little bit, you can always throw it out on your way home if you don't need it. But that way you can wash your dishes in your bathroom or in a sink. It makes it a little easier than just rinsing it out. And it's kind of hard to get dish soap on the ships. So bring a little dish soap and a little sponge or something to wash things out. And you're going to want to have a day bag. So when you board the ship, you're going to give all your luggage to the porters outside of the ship. So when you arrive at the port, you hand off all your luggage, and then you're only going to have whatever you're carrying, which would be your day bag, to take onto the ship for you. And then your luggage will be delivered to your room sometime. I would say by dinner time, although sometimes bags can be even after dinner, especially if you have early dining. So you're going to pack a day bag, and especially with toddlers, you're going to pack that day bag with everything you need for one full day, all the way through dinner is my recommendation. You don't want to be short of items. So a change of clothes, their bathing suit, a change of clothes for dinner, their cup, everything you need for that whole first day, because your luggage is not going to be easily accessible for, could be a little while, and you don't want to get stuck with needing something. Also, some toiletries. So a lot of ships do have some toiletries on them. They don't always have everything, but again, children can be sensitive. And when you're already changing environments, you don't want to change up too many things at once. So make sure you have enough toiletries for your babies. Any kind of lotions, creams, sunscreen, shampoo, soaps, all that good stuff. And bring a few items from home that you can put in their sleeping area. So usually they have a lovey or something special maybe that they sleep with. They will provide a pack and play and such on the cruise with their own bedding, but it's nice to throw something in there, a blanket or something if you have the space to pack it. That'll make that space feel and smell a little bit more like home. That can be helpful when sleeping in a new space. And at the end of your cruise, kind of back to the day bag, at the end of your cruise, you are going to leave all your luggage outside your room the last night of your cruise, with the exception of whatever you are carrying off, which is usually that day bag again. So anything that you have overnight, last set of pajamas, last bottle, last cups, last diapers, etc., you'll have all of that in your last bag that you are going to carry off, but a majority of your luggage is going to go out the night before. So that day bag, small rolling suitcase, large backpack, whatever that looks like for you, you're also going to keep on your last night to put your last set of things in for the last overnight. So that is a majority of the stuff when you're packing that you're going to want to think about. And so then let's talk a little bit about once you're on the cruise. So here are some onboard tips. So ahead of time, and your travel agent would do this for you if you have one, would be requesting that pack and play in that high chair. So that's really helpful. So they have that in the dining room for you. When you go to other meals like breakfast or lunch, usually at a buffet or elsewhere, you just ask for a high chair or you'll see them stacked up. You'll be able to grab those as well. But if you have it requested on the reservation, when you get to your table at dinner, that will already be set up for you. Another thing is to think about all the kids' spaces that are available on the ship and make good use of those. So if your children are under 3, they are not going to go into like the supervised kids areas, but most ships now have places that are great for kids to hang out in with their parents and to burn off some steam. So they have different names on them. Royal Caribbean will call them like Aqua Babies, and um, on the Disney Cruise Line, they usually call it the Small World Nursery, but they have these spaces that you can go down with your child and they can play and they can burn off some energy and you can hang out with them. And that is a great option for you to do with the kids. You'll also want to talk to your stateroom attendant sometime on the first day of the sailing. So usually once you get on board, sometime on that first day while you're getting unpacked, maybe before dinner, when you're down in your stateroom, the stateroom attendant will come by and they'll introduce themselves and get to know you. And they'll ask if there's anything you need. And if you've never cruised before, you'll be like, I don't know what I need. So this is a great time to think about ahead of time what you might want to talk to them about. So one item that you might want to talk about is ice. If you need ice in your room on a regular basis, you can ask for that and they'll keep your ice container full in your room. You can talk about the pack and play or any bedding. Do you want it out all day? Because you're planning to do naps, do you want it put away so you have more floor space? How do you want them to handle any of the bedding, leaving it out, putting it away? If you have a diapering child in diapers, like a toddler typically is, you might want to let them know that and say, can you take out our trash a couple times a day because we have a child in diapers and we're going to need extra trash removal. So that might be something that you want to ask for. You might ask for some extra blankets if you are looking to maybe just nap on the main bed with your child or be in the room or whatever, and you want some extra blankets. If you have a very scheduled child and you know that you do not want to be disturbed during a certain nap time, you could also let your room attendant know that. Most of the times, there's a way to put on the door that you don't want to be disturbed, either a sign or a marking you can put. So make sure you're aware of how to do that. But you could also let them know so that they can plan their schedule around that. My child naps from noon to 2. So we definitely don't want anybody coming in during that time so that we can have a good nap time. So those types of things can be helpful to talk to their stateroom attendant about. The other thing is, and this is one of the things I love about cruising too, especially with toddlers, is room service. Most of the time, room service is included, particularly a continental style breakfast. So I love to go have, we call it big breakfast in the main dining room. We like to have a sit down breakfast, but that doesn't mean we can't order room service. So we always put out an order for room service. Sometimes it's through the app. Sometimes there's a paper menu in the desk area that you can fill out and put out before you go to bed. You let them know what time you're asking for breakfast, your breakfast tray to be delivered. It's usually a half an hour window, and you can put that out at night and you can get things like fruit and bagels and muffins and juice, yogurt, coffee, tea, that kind of thing. This is great because if your child wakes up hangry and you're not ready to kind of get everybody up and going, it's like, hey, have a bowl of fruit, have some cereal. Okay. And even ordering cereal or fruit and putting it in the fridge so that you have it later as a snack. You can even order like coffee and stuff the night before. They come in carafes. Tighten it up real tight. If they are good carafes, at least try it once. Your coffee will probably still be hot in the morning. So if you don't want to be woken up in the morning by someone bringing your breakfast tray, but you want to get up and have coffee and have some time to get yourself together in the morning before you leave, you could actually order that the night before and then just leave it on your counter and have it ready for yourself in the morning. So there's a lot of ways that room service can be utilized. It's your vacation too. So take advantage of that and enjoy that little extra treat of having those muffins or something in the room. When our kids were little, they would ask, "Is it time to get up?" And I said, "No, it's not time to get up until the breakfast comes." And so when the guy came with breakfast that I had scheduled, that was like, okay, now it's time we can get up and you can have your fruit or yogurt or muffin or whatever it was. And we would put on a show on the TV or they could play on their games. And it was like, we're just going to ease into the day and then we're going to go get real breakfast once everybody's dressed and ready. But it just kind of gave us a more relaxed start to the day. And hey, why not take advantage of room service? So those are just some of the great things. Like I said at the beginning, traveling with toddlers is challenging. I know that. I think being at home with travel toddlers is challenging. As a mom of three kids under the age of 4, going to the grocery store was challenging. So I felt like, hey, if I'm gonna go through the struggle every week, every couple of days, going to the grocery store and running errands with all these little ones, I might as well have some fun with them too. Let's take them on a cruise. Let's order room service. Let's go have naps in the room in the afternoon. Like why not take the show on the road? And so if you're looking to plan a vacation with toddlers, don't just shy away from it. Some vacations are really toddler friendly and they can be a great way to travel and make those core memories and have some fun together.